I heard Jenny read for the first time in New Orleans a few months ago and really enjoyed it, and we're very glad to have her here tonight. She's the author of the full-length poetry collection Paper, Cotton, and Leather. That's through Press 53 Books, also out of North Carolina, and it is over there on the table, and we are selling it tonight. So go ahead, thumb through it, and buy a copy, get it signed by Jenny. She's the author of 4 poetry chapbooks: Weed Over Flower from Finishing Line Press, What Her Hair Says About Her from Hangman Books, Dressing the Throat Plate from Finishing Line Press, and Avoid Disaster from Dancing Grove Press. Her recent poetry has appeared or is forthcoming in Tammy, Line Break, Rediver, 1111, Thrush, Pink, Rhino, and a number of other journals. She also publishes prose pretty extensively in print and online, and she is co-founding editor of Josephine Quarterly, and she is an associate professor of English at Kennesaw State University. She's performed in cities like Austin, Birmingham, Chattanooga, Chicago, Cincinnati, Honolulu, Knoxville, Montreal, and Washington, D.C. Jenny?
I'm going to read some poems from Paper, Cotton, Leather, and then some other things. In our memory, weigh the civilized history and wind and climate and animal and plant and ocean and land. The history of an uncivilized romance you call a myth, someone else says legend, no one says monumental. You will say, we didn't have real history before we met. I will say, dear, most sturdy, I've never made it this far, out in the waves, this far out in the heart. The hurt is bearable most days. Cut and split. Kindling, that's your mule in the living room. I've lost something. You have to tell me what has lived through more storms, this mall or any branch you wore. Let me begin again. He was convinced he was a live oak, told everyone he can't stop leaves from breaking through his ridiculous skin. It was the roots that trailed his way to home. It must be what woke me up. Lures. You throw your love around and things come of it that mean burping and feeding and stowing. There will be lollygagging. I couldn't swaddle them. The smallest flies, they tried searching our cheeks. They wanted us to never leave. They wanted to skin our scales. We can be anything we couldn't be. Here is the sunset every painter has painted once, the one right before movie credits. Here is the largest love you'll ever feel before you die. We can say it's a wave and it comes in and takes us back out to dying and death and endings and violins and pianos flung in the middle of the ocean on purpose by teenagers. We can say we played songs in our sleep on that piano, sand fanning around our toes, and there was no resistance in the ocean, in our deaths. We can be anything we couldn't be before. For the percussion section, we can never die since we're already dead, since everyone knows we're prized ghosts. So if you're a superstitious person, you probably, maybe you don't think this, but I always look for signs that I'm about to die. And so anything I misread as, death and living. And so these birds, dead birds, just started showing up everywhere. Not everywhere, I saw 3. Or maybe 2, I guess. But it felt like a lot of dead birds, and so I just knew that I was going to die. But I didn't, yeah, so this is about all the birds. Listen. We found the first bird behind the museum near 16th. We held hands and it wasn't vulgar until we were standing over a funeral. Yes, I let go first. It's because the wings were pulled in tight. Death is the most comfortable suit. And I wanted to take its picture like the bird was going off to the first day of school. I wanted to pick it up, put it in the front seat, drive it back home. I wanted you to say something. You wanted to say, tell it a bedtime story. Instead, you said, come on, let's go. The second bird sounded like a baseball hitting my bedroom window, somebody's best arm pitching. But it was a bird because there was a smear, a flat cloud of boiling down. Listen, that's two. Their song is here. I can't put it back into their bird mouths. It's autumn here, and it's in the trees that look like fire to birds. The birds talk there, even after dark. Lined up, ready to land. Since no one's dreamed about me so much or told me they dream about me so much and in such detail, I know it's real. It has to be when you tell me we were walking in a downtown that wasn't ours. Cars crashed soundless all around us. They were bucking waves everywhere. They soaked the streets and I wasn't scared of drowning. After 5 wrecks, I stopped walking and looked at you like I wanted you to stop it. You tell me like I could. You tell me I would if I could. In another dream, we went from party to party, and we weren't happy. We were invited props meant to make everyone else look normal. You tell me we absorbed everyone's tension. We took it with us to the next party. We tried pouring it into glasses made for alcohol, but it wouldn't fit. We had to take it all with us to your home with the front porch. We fell back on your bed like we trusted it was still there even in a dream, and we didn't touch. We didn't splash into each other even though it's what we're so good at. We were still and real. We were lined up. We were ready to land. The burn I put. I was fed the sun for breakfast every day for 35 years. I grew rays for arms, and my core glowed into everyone's sky, and I became afraid of myself, my heat, the burn I put on each sea for how long, I don't know. I looked past the waves, saw fathers dipping their babies into the tides and back out. There's nothing more true than I burned and burned the past of everyone's first steps alone. So these are some newer poems, and I'm the person who always orders the same thing at the restaurant, you know, like I don't like change, and so it's very anxiety-producing to read new work, but that's okay. And this is for my students. We can't change the orbits quite yet. My students have long talks about what color my blood really is, how many hearts the octopus can still make breath and swim with. I stay out of their way until I'm reading Lindsay's poem and think the Hudson is the river and not a dog. I want the shoulder and muscles, the muzzle to be rounded wave. We can make it make sense. Here's the octopus, 8 hearts burp inside each tentacle. Here's my open finger and black blood. There's a man walking his pressed shirt down this rainy street anyway. Here's the muscle and his jaw moving up and down a seesaw. Here's his shoulder pushing out of your wave and into a message from my mother in pictures. She's past words now, and I know everything she means. The sound of a small plane in the suburban weekend sky is my father saying hello. We buried the fathers in Northville. Air pours out of a defeated tire on the highway. We point, we say ghost. There goes the rim sparking, a firecracker for the soul. And when we see the windmill next to the barn like that on some small road, we say, Michigan, you don't know how to look real. Your trees are stretched, gold coins pulled from a top hat, and you are so rich. We make our mangled mouths miss the dead people we miss. You know, somebody's dad will walk out to the square with its bumpy sidewalks, shake their pockets clean for pebbles, push them inside his leather shoes, and he will suffer for our suffering for as long as it hurts. And surely, sister, we could still the windmill if we tried harder. Mute means your father turns the sound off during commercials. His arms defiant across his chest, and it might as well be all of our chest except mine, because too many people read my breasts wrong. V tries to pull them off my skin, not like fruits or flowers, like gold he found that was set and gone. No one stops him, not even me. I watch his shoulder padding cresting back out of the hall, Someone will hand him a helmet later that day, and he will read it gentler than he read me. So this next kind of group of poems are from a new manuscript, and they're all kind of linked. A quiz at school one day interviews us, tells us what we'll be when we grow up. We both get astronaut. We're told we're explorers. When we go so far out in the water, we're sure that one day a real and willing astronaut will land in our arms and teach us gravity and floating. We catch ourselves with our chins in the air, the water choppy and lapped against our necks, looking out for a wilted parachute to land on the top of the water. And then we play the game where the ocean is our dress. We wear chains of bear bells around our waists, wade into foxfire, watch. We are sailors glowing in pilot lights. We pick bluettes that sing what's left of our whole family to bed before the moths beat themselves against a glass that doesn't belong to them but to the sinking house. Their blind migration surrounds us, and we come out with our hands open and grabbing at nothing. And when this house sinks, we'll be failed sailors, bad sons, our outlines in foxfire, burning until a star meets them. Our first lesson is wildflowers, wind trees, and animals. And the first lesson of wildflowers is how to read weather and our deaths and the bell across the trumpet. And it was our mother with big water hair who taught us to kiss our turned up hands. And then we risked and beat our dresses to death. We made them fossils in the front yard's garden bed. We were tired of kissing our dresses, so exhausted from hearing our hearts, that we made up our own beds and then planted ourselves there until we couldn't hear our breath. And it was our grandfather who said we are only meant to remember as much as we can. And I'm saying we won't remember the lessons or the front yards or what time when our mother was thrown by the eye, her hair still big, an ocean in an ocean, or how loud the knots when our father left us for good. One of us stays in the house while the other pours water outside against the ribs of the house. The one in the house says, louder, louder, make it like we were born here. Then we rake through our braids for salt and sand and come up empty every time. We wear braids again after this. We would be alive Josephines if we didn't, mirrors of our mother, echoes of her walking against every tide. Describe the wildflowers, wild iris and lady slipper and 4 o'clock. Not all flowers can live just anywhere. Someone tells us about a flower that opens only at nighttime. We don't know what to believe. Most of the soft stems are safe from our stepping or march. But we are interested in reading of bloom, knowing what will come for us, our futures attached to us very long ago, and we have to live here beside tremendous woe. They bury the creeks. Swimming holes and rivers are drowned in dirt. The only water we ever see here is rain, and when we do, we save it in animal cracker tins we hang with twine from the awnings. And if all the water in the world has always been here, we're waiting for the water that ended our parents. Where's the water that filled Josephine's last word, that covered our father's last look? We slapped the water against our house, seeing this is where we were born. Along came the rain and washed us out. So this is an erasure of chapters 19 and 20 of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So I like erasing things. So. The next screen. 1. The next screen shook the gate, unlocked our home. You turned the best home to air. Look at the green rattling a good night. Place is flown. 2. We will make a ladder over the wall, the ladder clumsy but strong, up the wall, be still ladder. Over the wall, a stretch of country, shining in white, houses made of china, pretty barns, fences, cows, sheep, horses, pigs, chickens, all china, standing in groups. Milkmaids are golden spots, gorgeous golden clothes, and so small beneath. We get heavy feet. We must cross over, and even at that small elbow, forgive us. 3. Careful. Mend the so pretty china. Now see yourself complete. 4. I could love you, carry you to Kansas, carry you in my basket. So this is going to be my last poem, and when I read it, I always say that it's kind of, I guess, an advertisement to be friends on Facebook. There was a prompt where this journal was calling for poems where you took your Facebook statuses and you shoved them into a poem, or did something clever. And so this is a bunch of my status updates, sort of manipulated a little bit. So if you like what you hear, then you would like my Facebook. Yearbook of Ways. And thank you again for everyone, Jonathan. The way you know today is by getting mad at the stars, at the chickens, at the lists, at the noisemakers mostly. The way you know what time it is by reading glow-in-the-dark stickers on an overhead fan that belonged to your teenage self. The way you predict the future and don't tell anyone is the same way you know you will ruin every manicure on purpose by eating pistachios. The way you carefully pass the school bus with a sign across the back, driver in training, the way the phrase fits the situation. The way we don't have to be this loud when we're old. Our bones are good news, they heal on their own. Our bones are the best things to keep us standing. The way I mentioned your name and all bunnies, rabbits, and hares came out of the forest and waved, left Easter baskets to be here for us. The way your hairline falls into my face and every dream happens again but on different roads, and you put me in my graves and you saw it. The way other people I can't think of right now don't make me sisters, with so many dreams, so many windows open or let down. The way we will handle life and death of public art. The way we will tell the mural good news, bad news, how it is in need of urgent care. The way that man who lived 5 miles away was a gunman. I gave money for their funerals in Wisconsin. The way we tell the cicadas to please hit more notes. The way the newfinch doesn't know space. The way we fall into place around Run Lake. The way no one here is awake yet. The way we raise the dead is real. The way our whole goal line is happening.